Hey everybody, welcome back to Dungeon Builds. I'm going to be your builder today, and we are going to be doing a very interesting concept today. And you might be wondering, why are we starting on a tiny little field with a single tree in the center? Well, I'm going to tell you. And I'm going to tell you, well, I place this block right there. And then I'm going to place a block right there. And then I'm going to place a third one right there and a fourth one right there so that we have blocks all around this tree. Now, the idea that I had here for this build came from Lord of the Rings, actually, because I am reading my son the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and we've just come to the end of near the end of the Fellowship, where the Fellowship has just left Moria and they are on their way to, or they have arrived in Lothlorien. Now, in Lothlorien, unlike the movies, if you've ever read the books, it's a little bit of a different scene. They don't just go there and they're suddenly, they meet the guy and then they're suddenly in the city or whatever. There's actually a whole thing that actually happens prior to them meeting Galadriel and Celeborn and all that. Anyway, um, the elves of Lothlorien have this very cool thing called a Flet, or a talan, I think is what it's called in the books. And what this thing is it's basically a big old platform that is up in a tree that the elven archers of Lothlorien sit in and watch the roads. That's how the Fellowship actually meets Haldir is at this thing. It's a flet or a talan. Flet, I think, is the quote-unquote English term, and talan is the Elvish word for it. So I've played around a little bit with this, and I'm going to show you guys this. And you could do this one of a couple different ways. You could make this as a sort of micro version if the scene is bigger, or like what I'm doing here in a more of a macro version. So I'm going to be placing these blocks down all through here, and I'm actually going to just start slowly to kind of give you guys an idea of where I want this to go. And I don't necessarily want it to be like, I guess, completely blocky. I want to kind of give it the sense of it's more of a rounded shape. Because in the book, they describe it as basically a platform. And the way they describe it is in a circular shape. So I'm going to finish placing these blocks down and then I will be right back. Okay, so here is the basis for our platform. Okay, I kind of was going for, again, more circular shape to sort of go along with the description. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn all these blocks, the same sort of texture as this here. So, all right, so now all of the blocks are the same texture. Now what I'm going to do, which is my favorite part, is I'm going to, now the technique that I'm going for here is a sort of speed building technique. To show you this, I'm going to place a block here, okay? And then I'm going to drag on this block, and I'm going to be able to drag it to this corner and select all of these blocks at once. Now that block that I placed in the corner is not going to stay there forever. We're going to delete it right after we're done with this little speed building technique. But this is my favorite part of this build because we're going to go to the height. And I tested this before I started recording, and I found out that the height that I want is 1500. And I believe the height of the blocks goes up to 2000. So we're going to type in 1500 and hit enter, and all of the blocks are going to shoot up vertically at once. Now, we're going to delete this, and I think it accidentally took my tree. That's okay. We're going to move the tree right back down there. That's okay. And now you'll see that our little wooden platform is now around the tree, which I think is super duper cool. Now, in the books in the Fellowship, they describe the Flet as a completely open space. It's completely open on all sides except for a movable wall that they can move in the direction of the wind, okay, to block out the wind. So that's kind of what I'm gonna try to do here. So I think I'm gonna do half walls. Let's see what half walls look like. Okay, so there is our little wall that shows where the wind is coming from. Okay, now there's not much more that's up here, except they do describe how there is a hole in part of the flet. Okay, and the hole is where they can toss a rope bridge down for people to climb up. And that's how the fellowship ends up climbing up to the flet to rest the night before, so that they are protected from a band of rampaging orcs. All right, so there's our band of Moria orcs. And then up here, there was, I think, 3 or 4 elves. It was Haldir and his 2 brothers, and I think one other guy. I don't really fully remember, but this guy can be Haldir. And obviously, we all know that the elves of Lothlorien were very skilled archers. I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan, so when I was reading this to my son before bed, I was like, man, that's actually a really cool thing that they had. And it's something that's really cool that's left out of the book. It's a very cool scene. If you've never read Lord of the Rings, I highly, highly encourage you do it. But yeah, there's this little scene. Now again, there's tons of applications for a thing like this. Again, this is a very macro. Is that the right word? This is a very singular scene that I was going for. Very, very zoomed in, and you can apply this in any number of ways. Now, I'm going to show you this to kind of show you sort of another way you could do this. All right, so there is our smaller flet that we can apply with. Now here, I never tested this here, so this is going to be experience for me too, to figure out kind of where. Oh, I don't want to scale it. What am I doing? Where the height is going to work for this. So, oh, you know what? Let's just go to 500. That's actually great. Oh, I broke the rest of the flet. Fixed it. Okay. So, well, then not quite, but I want to finish showing this because I don't want these to be too long. But the point that I wanted to show here is this, is you could show this in kind of a much smaller sort of view, and I find that the height of 500 on these works just fine. And there we go. There is our smaller flet with our upper one fully intact still up here. So now maybe this is all part of the same scene. Maybe this is a smaller tree. I would actually probably put that up a little bit higher, maybe to like 750. I don't know. But there you go. You could also put some archers up here. Maybe again, it's a smaller tree. But I wanted to show this off because I thought it was a really cool concept, something really cool from the book, and I really wanted to recreate the scene, and I feel like this does a pretty good job of that. So thank you all so much for watching. Check out our shorts for the short form builds, and we'll have more of these in the future. Thanks everybody so much for watching, and have a good day. Bye bye.